If you don't really know oneself, you don't know who you are, and you're trying to find that sense of identity, by take time for yourself, I mean be single.
Yeah.
And I mean be single,
Yeah.
bro. Like, you know how many people I come across and they say, oh yeah, I'm single. And then I see their phone and it's like, there's Henry, there's a Bobby, there's a Bubbalicious. Like, it's a bunch of people. And it's like, yo, who are you single to? It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, I mean, when I say be single, you know, because at the end of the day, if you don't know yourself or you don't have identity for yourself, how could you see yourself in 10 years? Or if you can't see yourself in 10 years, how can you see yourself in 10 years with someone else? You're getting two people involved in trouble that should have just been one. All right, you guys, welcome to another episode of New Age Podcast. I'm Charles.
I'm Dario.
And we are here today with a special guest of ours. We don't have a third mic from Sally at this moment, but he is here at least. You know, any questions or anything you may have. We also invite you guys, if you guys ever want to get an opportunity, contact us. New Age Podcast. That's the Insta. We'll leave it in a link in the bio. Brian, I got to meet him recently, and then also not so recently. It was like he helped me set up a date, and it went successful because, I mean, shit, we're still together, so you did some good work, bro. And then Dario's one of the best, so I'm going to let Dario give a little bit of details.
So Brian has been one of my closest friends. I've known him since elementary school, believe it or not. Yes, there was a few years between the whole just school-wise where we kind of separated, going to different schools, but kind of going back into it in high school, met up with him again, and it felt as if, yes, we had grown up, but same connection as it was in elementary school.
Beautiful.
So it's good to have him here. But I've had a few conversations with him, and that's kind of why we wanted to bring up a certain topic for today.
What you got for me, bro? What you got for me?
All right, so the topic is the struggles. Hold on, I can't really see it too well.
Come on.
The struggles of being in oneself in today's day. So
define that for me, for the person out there who doesn't know what being oneself means or struggle, because we do have some privileged people listen.
So basically, it's just understanding who you are as a person, who you are as yourself, knowing what you can and can't do, but at the same time, knowing your limits when it comes to emotions, your mental health, physical health, you know, any and all that sorts, and kind of just corresponding with any crisis or any problem you're going on in life, whether it's relationships, whether it's family, whether it's just day in and day out stuff at all. So, you know, hopefully we go into some crazy stuff today because I'm excited.
All right, cool. Me too. All right, Dottie, I'm going to ask you one question then. This is going to be a little bit more about your story, but, you know, at least a little quick synopsis. So if you're going to tell someone right now who's going through a struggle and they're trying to create an identity for themselves or understand who they are and who they want to be, what's 3 quick tips you would give them to start that path? Because we all know that this is like a lifelong journey. So what's something or 3 quick tips you would give them to at least get them started in that path?
Honestly, it's taking some time. And now I know that can be judged by many different ways.
That's subjective. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you can genuinely take some time to understand what it is you do like or dislike, or you feel confident with doing, or just feeling confident in general, that's another one, is just feeling confident in yourself and the things you do and things you say, anything and everything. And also, I would probably say the connection you have with your friends and family, or at least the people you would want within your inner circle. So, you know, being a lot more close or more comfortable with your parents or your siblings, or having, you know, some best friends that you would genuinely tell anything and everything to, and you know that you can go to them, tell them anything that happened that day, and know that they're going to be there for you and not kind of make fun of you because of what you're going through or because, you know, you need some opinions.
All right. And then on my part, at least 3 tips I would give them would be similar to him, but I would tell them, and this is going to be one that's very much argued, but my personal opinion, if you don't really know oneself, you don't know who you are, and you're trying to find that sense of identity, by take time for yourself, I mean be single.
Yeah.
And I mean be single,
Yeah.
bro. Like, you know how many people I come across and they say, oh yeah, I'm single. And then I see their phone and it's like, there's Henry, there's a Bobby, there's a Bubbalicious. Like, it's a bunch of people. And it's like, yo, who are you single to? It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, I mean, when I say be single, you know, because at the end of the day, if you don't know yourself or you don't have identity for yourself, how could you see yourself in 10 years? Or if you can't see yourself in 10 years, how can you see yourself in 10 years with someone else? You're getting two people involved in trouble that should have just been one.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be my first advice. Be single or stay single until you could find at least some start towards, you know, creating an identity for yourself. My second tip, people may not like this one, but yeah, go against the status quo. And by going against the status quo, I literally mean stuff that you've been curious about or stuff in a positive way. You know, don't go out just doing drugs and just go, you know, trying to live GTA. No, I mean like stuff that is positive and beneficial to your community, dude. I mean, go against the status quo. For example, for that kid who always wondered, man, I feel like, I'll give myself for example. For in case if someone were to address me and I would address myself and describe myself as going against the status quo, it would literally be me as that kid who was like, damn, I could have a hell of a conversation with so much people. I could share so much empowerment with people, but people tell me that's not a career. People tell me that's not a job. I would say go against the status quo and make that a career or job. I always say, you want to find out what you're passionate about? Think about what you do for free. There's a reason why you do it for free. So that'll be a quick tip if you're curious about, okay, what can I do to go against the status quo that could turn into a passion or ambition? And that leads me to the third one. Find that passion or ambition. You ever want to find an idea of who you are or who you want to be? You know, the struggle of being oneself. Find ambition, find passion, find something that's going to drive you, because if you have something that's going to drive you towards something specific, you're going to find a drive to just keep learning more about yourself. So just start with that one thing and literally everything will carry itself out. All right, so we got Brian over here. I saw him write a question, I believe he did. So Brian, shoot that question.
So he's a little too far. So we're gonna read it out.
I look stupid in front of the camera, bro. I went like the first time you saw my eyes open this entire year or episode.
So the question says, how do you combat comparing yourself to others in this day and age?
Oh, all right. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll let you go first. I feel like you picked something up real quick when you heard it.
Okay, so how do I combat comparing myself to someone in this day and age, right? Like, how do I battle against that? Okay. I would first, I'm not gonna lie, it's a tough thing, you get me? Because naturally we see something we like and we want it, right? But I kind of put into my head the same thing I would do when it comes to buying like that certain video game I want, but I know I need that money for something else. I'll go with what do I want versus what do I need. So when it comes to comparing myself to someone else, I would see, man, this person really has this lifestyle. They already have everything together that I'm still trying to get to, but I don't know why it hasn't came yet. I would literally combat that by being like, you know what? Maybe I don't need that yet. Maybe I still need time to live, you know, and my case would literally be, maybe I don't need to be at that like 6K figure business profile because I still need to enjoy my youth, you know? So I would combat it by addressing it similar to, you know, if you're in a Hispanic household or any household, in all honesty, and you just have parents where they're like, but do you need that? You know, whenever you're trying to buy something,
yeah, exactly.
You know, it's your money, but they're like, but do you need that? You know? And I would address it like that. You know, if you feel like someone has something you want, ask yourself, but do I need that? And if I do I need it right now? You know, what do you got?
I was gonna say my dad kind of raised me with that same mindset at an early age. He would always tell me, because I you know, as a kid, hey dad, I want this. Hey dad, I want that. We'd be out, you know, at the grocery store or, you know, at Walmart, whatever it may be, and I'm just like, oh dad, you know, that's the new game. I want this. I want that. The moment I would like open my mouth to say I want, and then whatever it was, he would stop me and go, do you want it or do you need it? And it took me until a while of him just consistently telling me for me to kind of pause and actually think about it if I needed it at the time or if it was just out of desire of wanting it. And I feel like just being told that the whole time as I was growing up allowed me to have that mentality of, yeah, I have friends that have the new game console, or, they're doing all this stuff, going to all these places and venturing and this and that. They're spending a lot of money. And I'm there like, they look like they're having fun. I want to go join them. I want to go do this and that too. But then I think about it, it's like, do I really need to go and spend that amount of money as well? Or am I better off saving what I have for something bigger in the long term? So for me, it was just the way I was raised. It basically got engraved into my head after my dad was telling me that. So to me, it's basically the same. Mm-hmm. But for me, I also see it as kind of like a challenge when you compare someone else to what you do.
Oh, so kind of like a self-encouragement challenge, or like okay, you know what, you're there. Give me 5 weeks, I'm gonna be above there. That? Oh, okay.
So just first comparison that comes into my mind, for me at least, is I know Jose Zuniga is in his mid to late 20s.
This dude's like 25 or 26, and he's living life. But you look at all his videos, dude, think about it. Like, he always talks about how he would never wish his lifestyle upon people because of how busy he is. Mm-hmm. But it's part of him though, So I don't mean to cut you off at all, but in this case, what we're talking about, that kind of relates to the wants and needs. I would tie that also with, is that you, Like, he always talks about it, and I remember seeing like a podcast interview about him talking. He was like, "Yeah, people look at me and they're like, man, I want to be like Jose Zuniga. I want to have his lifestyle. I want to have his car. I want to have his woman. I don't know. I want to have his, some women will be there out there like, I want to have his babies, So it's just, people are always like, I want to have his. And he's all like, but they don't live the lifestyle I live, or they're not even ready to maintain the discipline I maintain, So it's like, you may want other things that people have, but do you think you can handle it, Because some people really do put a front, make it look like it's easy, but realistically, it took them a while to get there, and it took that discipline where now they're like, I have this now, but I wish I could have had something else. It's always like the pursuit of happiness, There's a reason why it was beautifully written, and no one knew it was going to be written that well to be that accurate. It's the pursuit of happiness. The reason why it's called pursuit is because it's a never-ending chase. Once you have it, you think you have it, but now you're like, damn, I spent so much time dedicated to this. It's like, I don't know if this is really what I want anymore. I guarantee you, go. I encourage everybody, go look at someone who inspires you or one of your main influencers. Look for an interview or conversation, and I guarantee you, one of them you're going to come across as the most recent is going to be them talking about somewhere they're not satisfied. Happiness is a pursuit, and I think happiness comes with finding oneself, or the struggle is being oneself is like one thing I always hear people say, and it's the most common thing, but it's real. And people are like, I just want to be happy. But it's like, you don't realize though that there's a reason why Will Smith is a movie on it. There's a reason why there's a book on it. There's a reason why it was written in the Declaration of Independence. Pursuit of happiness is a pursuit. It's a never-ending chase. But I didn't mean to cut you off. Well, I don't know where you're going to.
No, you're good.
You said something, and it just like a.
No, because what I was trying to go to in comparison with him was that, okay, he's at this certain age, but he's doing this and this for himself, and he's gotten this successful and all that. I take it as a challenge in the sense of, if he can get there, what's stopping me from trying to get there too? So maybe I can jump into it and do the same kind of challenge, or, get to his level, whether it's crazy out of my dreams or not reachable, like whatever you want to call it. But for me, through my eyes, I'm going to see it as it's a challenge of endurance, and it's a challenge of commitment. If I'm going to start it, I'm going to go all the way through. Whether I get to his point, but now I'm 27, 28 when he was, and I reached the point where he was like 24, 25, a little age difference comparison. But either way, like, that was what I was going for, was to get to a certain point kind of in that competition. So for me, comparing someone, I see it more of, I'll take it in the sense of, let me take this as an encouragement for me to continue to strive for more, to strive for what's better, but at the same time to try and reach what my initial goals or my initial dreams are that I want to, have for my life.
So I'm gonna ask you a question that goes along the lines of that, and that is, so how does someone, because that's a little bit borderline, when you want like seeing someone's success is borderline from either being jealous of them or being encouraged by them / inspired.
Mm.
How would you instruct someone on how to gain that mentality to see it as encouragement rather than see it as jealousy? Because that's what they say, you have people who will hate on you and you have people who will be inspired by you. How would you encourage those who are on the hating side to see it as encouragement? Like, what would be some examples or things you would give them to make them switch over? Because you do have those people. You have people who will see it and be like, I could do that too. Or, man, this person inspires me to go try it. But then you have those people who are like, how you say, and usually what's crazy is it's usually your closest circle too. And you have those people who would be saying stuff like, you know what, he only got there because of this. They'll find something. You get me?
Nitpicky.
What would be something at least you would give? Okay, we can't really decide for that, but what would be something you give to the person who has those people who discourage him like that?
Honestly, it's a little difficult for me to say just because for me, it was more of out of experience. Because I kid you not, I was kind of one of those kids growing up where I would have friends that were, like I said, doing all these things, going and spending their money or have, all these luxuries and this and that. And I would compare myself and I would kind of get jealous, but I was never saying it or exposing, kind of putting myself out there and putting what I had against somebody else. It wasn't until as I got older, as I got, a more mature mindset, I started comparing it more so that I would feel a sense of drive and I would feel a sense of why not actually go and trying to get that completed myself.
Okay, so I guess that question I asked then probably comes from insecurities. So in this case, with someone who carries insecurities, and let's be honest, because let's say someone right now is listening and they're like, wow, Dario carries that intention of, let me challenge myself. I could do that, but someone told me I look like this. Someone told me I walk like this. Someone told me I talk like this. That's insecurity, right? What would you tell to that person who carries so many insecurities, but they have that intention, they have that drive that they want to do what the other person they inspire is doing, but they have insecurities blocking their way?
I feel like for that specifically, and I've said this a decent amount, and it's easier said than done for sure, is more of just ignoring what they have to say. I'm at a point now where I understand everyone has an opinion. Everyone can, voice their opinion. Whether I agree on it or not, that's a different story. But then that comes along with, do I want to start talking to this person and having this disagreement and whatever? Or can I just pretend like I'm like, okay, it is what it is. But at the same time, it's like how the saying goes, it just goes in through one ear and out through the other, But for me, just once you kind of ignore those kind of people and don't really give a care for what they have to say to you, just because, they're trying to diminish you, they're trying to make you feel like you can't make it, or they're trying to make you feel like you're not worth it, whatever. The moment you kind of ignore them and focus on what you want to focus, go for what you want to do, you might not notice it personally, but people around you might start telling you, hey, you look more confident now, or, you look like, it looks like you know what you're going to go to without you having that mindset of like, all right, I'm going to go and get this done, or I'm going to go and present myself in this presentation or whatever. But, just slowly but surely, as you're focusing on yourself without really knowing it, you'll start kind of seeing results and seeing stuff from other people around you because, because people around you kind of see a different perspective of you than what you would see yourself on the day-to-day basis. So if you get to get these kind of different stories from different people and, kind of going here with what Brian has told me in the past, I understand that, people can be like, oh, you look like you have confidence, the way your sense of style and this and that, like, you're someone that I can look up to, someone I know you've got it down, this and that. But then when you kind of think about it yourself, you don't feel like you have that confidence. You don't feel like you have what these people around you are telling you that you have or that you're kind of showing. But that's at that point, that's kind of like going back to it, to insecurities. Either, it's a little of an insecurity to yourself, or you have yet to comprehend that you have changed, that you're not who you think you are from some time ago. But, in that point, I feel like I'd have to ask for your opinion too, Charles, because that's my mindset, but I'm, got to get your mindset too. All right, guys, just want to take a little break to introduce our sponsor for today. Our sponsor is Anchor. Anchor is a free app you can find on the App Store or through a website. And I kid you guys not, it has everything you need to make a podcast in one. The tool creations are amazing, and it allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or a computer, which makes it so easily accessible to do it at home or on the go.
And speaking of on the go, sometimes we need our podcast distributed but don't have time to put it onto every single platform. So Anchor will do that for you in an easily accessible way. Uploading it just to Anchor will upload it straight to all the other platforms so your listeners can listen to your podcast. You could even make money on the go, as Anchor will pay you for your podcast with no minimum listenership. That means you could have anywhere from 0 to 100 listeners and Anchor will still pay you.
Like I said, you can find the Anchor app on an app store. Anchor spelled ANCHOR, or if you would like to use the website, it's anchor.fm. Feel free to check it out. Feel free to let us know how it is for your guys' experience.
Other than that, you guys, hope you guys enjoy the rest of the episode. Peace. See, my main thing is, dude, confidence has been a lifelong battle for me. I think every single time I find confidence in one thing, we'll edit that part. Every single time I find confidence in one thing, dude, it would literally be like, once I find confidence in this, something else came up. You get me? And it's always one of those things where you have to realize confidence is a lifelong journey. And it's one of those things where you're always going to be finding something someone's better at and you're going to not feel confident in. So you have to come to an understanding of that. For example, me, confidence. I know I can hop on a motorcycle and feel confident. I know I can hop in whatever clothes I'm in and feel confident. I know I won't feel confident stepping into a room filled with only Spanish speakers. You get me? And I had to come to an understanding that that's where I guess that challenge part comes in. And it's like, okay, now I'm going to dedicate myself to learning Spanish, But then after that happens, I'm going to hop into a room of people speaking Portuguese. You get me?
Yeah.
No matter what, there's going to be something you're not going to feel confident at, even once you achieve confidence in something. You had to come to an understanding that there's always going to be something for you to learn or for something for you to gain information on. And you just have to learn to accept it with the open heart instead of accepting it with like an angry fist or anything like that. All right, Brian, we got another question. Dadio's going to read it out and I'll respond.
So, Brian wrote that. Bro, this happened so much. So, Brian wrote down another question, and his question was, who are the people in your life who inspire you and you admire, but also why do you admire them or what makes them admirable? I can jump straight into it.
Go ahead. Something. Yeah, you look ready.
So for me, and it's a good thing that he's here because I want him to hear it. For me personally, I think both of these two men in this room, Charles and Brian, are my inspiration, or one of the few of my inspirations. Mainly because of the things you guys do. For Charles, for example, I know he's a lot further ahead of me in certain aspects, but because we're so connected in the sense of we tell each other everything. I know what's going on. He knows what's going on about me and everything. I see it in the sense of I have more of an insider knowledge that if there's anything that I know he's more advanced into, I know I can turn to him and talk to him about it, or I can turn to Brian and talk to Brian about it, with different things. But at the same time, I know everyone, between the two of you guys are handling things on your own. You guys are doing your own things. And I see you guys as like a motivational person. Charles over here, he hypes me up. He does all these things to try to get me to get out of my comfort zone when I'm not there, or to try and just lift my spirits when I'm focused on too many things or whatever. But that's because he knows how I am, and he's just comfortable around me for him to be as goofy and as stupid as he wants to be, because he knows I'm not going to say nothing about it. I'm going to want to jump in and tag along with him. But I know that for a fact when it comes to Charles, when I'm on my lows and I need someone to talk to, or I need someone to kind of just listen in, whatever it may be, I know he's there for me. I know that no matter what happens, he's one of the people I can turn to. And for me personally, I just think that's one of the things that I need to know for sure, to believe in someone and to have that trust for someone. So for me to have that sense of inspiration or admiration, like, that's why I turn to you. And as for Brian, this guy does his own thing as well when it comes to school, sports, work, like
2 jobs and school. Let me just give this guy a, where is it? This button?
Yeah. So, he's doing his own thing too. But I want him to understand as well that there's people around him, close and far, family or friends, whatever it may be, that see him the way I see him as well. That I see him as a sense of inspiration, a sense of, I know I can trust him with anything and everything that I say, or anything and everything that I need to kind of let out when I'm not okay. But at the same time, he's doing his own thing. He's struggling. He's, pushing, like, whatever it may be, he's going through his own battles as well. But whenever I do see him, he has his head up high. He is confident. He is happy. He is laughing. He's telling me things that he's doing that are going right. But at the same time, with his own family, he's got his own family stuff going on that he rarely ever brings up to anyone. So when he does bring it up to me, I feel that sense of, I can trust this guy and he knows he can trust me as well. And that just makes me have that sense more of like a addition to, I know I can have this guy there as inspiration, and I can look towards him and see the things he's doing or the things he's done for me to want to be like him too. But that's just me. So, now you can take over the floor.
All right. So the reason why I took a little bit of hesitation was because you gave me 2 different words. You gave me inspiration and admiration. I see those as 2 different definitions, so I want to address both. For the inspiration part, in this case, I'll be honest with you, I get inspired by so many people, so many different ways. Like, I tell Dario so many stories of a fucking Lyft driver would inspire me some way because he'll tell me a story about a burger. Like, maybe I'll dive into that another time. Yeah. You get me? But there's inspiration everywhere, and I just feel like that's just me who sees inspiration everywhere. But Dario would definitely be one of the inspirations because of the fact that with Dario, I mean, it's been pretty simple. We've had conversations like this since we first met. In all honesty, not gonna lie, most of them were about girls. I'm not gonna lie. keep this transparent as well. It was always like, damn, bro, like, this women trouble, this woman, stuff like that, But it was like, but it started from there and went on to grow onto deeper things, which we started becoming and understanding that, damn, there is deeper things than just girls. I guess, but I'm not gonna try to sound like that, Fast forward, but for inspiration wise, it's because I look at Dario and it inspires me because it shows me that there's someone who's been influenced by me, and that just makes me go harder. You get me? It's like when I see I made an impact somewhere, it makes me wonder where else I could leave impacts. And that inspires me. I feel like any inspiration from me inspires me, or any inspiration in the case of seeing someone who I met in a sense of a certain state of health. Like in this case with Dario, when I met him, I didn't know a lot about him. But then fast forward, we became hella close friends, and I got to learn about this guy and literally see him change as time went. He went from just Dario to Daddy-o, like it all switches up, I'm over the humor side over here. I'm not going to lie. But definitely that. It's seeing, like, you've definitely inspired me in a way because of the fact that I've seen you progress, and I've been lucky to progress with you. Now, on the admiration part, it's gonna sound so typical and cheesy as hell, you get me? But someone I admire, in this case, and you're gonna be like, oh, would definitely be like my partner. You know, it's weird. We don't say girlfriend or boyfriend. We say partner. You get me? But I admire her because of the fact that in first glance, I was able to see a sense of character development. I was able to see that she's not like anybody else. You get me? But fast forward through time and getting to know her and seeing, wow, like, I guess two strong souls fit alike. You get me? Because of the fact that we're always learning from each other. So I admire her because of the fact that she's always willing to learn. And I'm lucky to be one of her teachers. I'm not saying I am her teacher. I'm saying one of her teachers. You get me? So I admire the fact that, and I mean, shit, maybe it's also relationship-wise too or whatever, but I definitely see admiration in that. So that's why when you gave me inspiration and admire, I see those as two different things. In this case, for inspiration-wise, it is you because of the fact that I've got to see you change with time. And I've got to be able to be lucky enough to see like, wow, this is someone I met at church. And now here we are doing a podcast. That's fucking crazy, dude. And then for admiration, it's like, wow, this is someone I just thought was cute. Now here we are, fast forward, and I feel like she is my partner that I want to see succeed in any essence of life. Because I admire everything she does and every way she carries herself in a way, as well as I admire how willing she is and how open she is, and same thing with you. But the admiration's in a different way, you get me? And then Brian, I just met, like, not too much, but I've gotten to know this guy at least enough to be like, wow, like I would add him to my high value list of men. You want to know my list of high value men? I always say it's two people besides me. No. You get me? I might add Brian as the third person, making it 4 people total, meaning I only know 3. Huh? I'll put Brian there because I got to know enough about him, in all honesty, put him in that list. I know 3 high value men for you ladies out there, okay? First one, my boy Ladio, Daddy-o, Doritos, whatever you want to call him, Papio, whatever you want to call him.
I hope.
Definitely one of the high value men. Second one, I'm going to throw Brian there, man, because Brian, I just got to meet him. Come on, he's got 2 sources of income, and, he's at school, education. You got to work on cars, and all you guys don't know how to work on your cars. So that's a trait, that's a skill, and that's something that's great. All right. The third one is Jesus. And sorry, but like, that's my heavenly father, so he's not on the list. So I got 2 of them for you. All right, that's a little bit off the track. But tying back to that, for inspiration and admiration, I see them as 2 different things. Part of the reason why you're my inspiration, the main part, is the fact that I got to see someone who's inspired by me start inspiring me. It's like when the student becomes the master. And that is why you're one of my main inspirations. And for the admiration part, that'll be my partner. And part of that reason comes because she got to show me, she exposed me to the first big risk I ever took. You know me. I didn't like relationships. Yeah, no. I was the definition of single, meaning people come at me and be like, sorry, I don't want to fuck with you. No offense. But it's just me personally, I'm on my own path. But that was a big risk I took. But after I took, and I don't even say risk, 'cause that sounds bad, you get me? But after I took that leap of faith, is that a better word? After I took that leap of faith because I saw something and I admire whatever I saw, it exposed me to so many other potential things I could take a leap of faith into. So I admire her for showing me that. But, I think the next thing that I did want to talk about, that at least since we're on this topic, is one of the biggest things I told Dario about that I feel like makes people feel like they have to be something. And I'm so glad this movie came out because it really showed you don't have to compare yourself to other successes. You don't have to become this thing that you believe you're so destined to be, that it's okay to still figure it out as you're going or even appreciate life, is the movie Soul.
Came out this start of the year, right?
Came out during COVID year. Came out during COVID year for sure. I don't know if it was exactly this year or if it was last year. It's 2021. I think it came out 2020. But the movie Soul basically explained to people and showed the plot. This is at least what I took from it. But the plot was this man believed his destiny was his only purpose was to become a piano player, play for this professional show and play for this certain person he wanted to play for. He got the opportunity. He did that. But after he got exposed to different parts of life, relationships, friendships, adventure, he realized after he finally got to that point that he believed was his only reason for survival, he got to that point and actually accomplished it. but then he felt lifeless, you know? And I thought that was a beautiful metaphor that they threw that in the plot of the movie Soul. Because it's like when you attach all your life into this goal, this one goal, making you believe that's all my life is, what happens when you achieve it? Now you're lifeless, right? Because all of the potential, all the passion you believe was for that, and you finally get to that, what's left of you? I just want to see your opinion on that, or at least how you believe that could tie into, because me personally, I saw it as it's okay if you're having struggles right now not knowing yourself, because that's the beautiful part about it. You could explore so many different things. It's better to not know what you're doing right now, or it's better to not know what you want to do, but it's not okay to feel like you have to do something and you're gonna do it, you know? It's kind of like those people who feel obligated to work a certain career because they already spent so much money into it with college. Like, I would rather tell someone, take this time off, go explore you, than, you know, have a, I don't want to say have a conversation. Then, how you say, tell them, no, you already did all this time into this, finish it. Time is valuable, you know. That's what the movie Soul taught me, because he fell in a hole, boom, he was dead, you know, just like that. Time is valuable. It's okay to not know where you're headed. At least have an idea of where you want to go.
I think going on top of that, kind of adding onto it and then jumping into what I would say about the movie, but kind of using myself as an example with the whole schooling, like that kind of example you were using. For me, straight out of high school, I was planning on, you know, like I had told you, was doing engineering for civil and environmental engineer, going to college, doing all that and everything. But after COVID started and just how it affected schooling and classes and everything, and I personally just wasn't all for it, I ended up just taking a so-called leap year to kind of just wait for everything to hopefully get back to normal so that we can attend classes in person again. But during that time of me just taking a leap year, I was trying to do something. I was trying to keep myself busy. I was working, but at the same time, you know, I was going around, learning new areas, going far, whatever, you know, just kind of exploring, just like you were saying. And after about a year, like I still have yet to really try school again because it's still online for me at least. But I now feel like I kind of want to jump into the stock market or realtor, just like, you know, what's the word?
It's real estate, basically. Like real estate agent, be a realtor. So
realtorship, basically, you know, just that, whatever, you know, what it is that you're going for as well.
Yeah. But
doing that at the stock market or marketing, because I have taken some previous classes just out of curiosity for myself. But now it's like, you know, going out of high school, I had that mentality of, all right, I'm going to be this engineer. I'm going to, you know, go to college for these set amount of years, go to this college, go and get this set and straight and done and everything. And my family was all for it. But now that I've taken this, you know, leap year, and now I have been exposed to different things, I still have that mindset of I still want to go and finish everything so that I can get that engineering degree. But at the same time, now I'm also curious about marketing, about stock market, about real estate. So it's like now I have more things I kind of want to adventure into or, you know, look into more. But when it comes down to the movie Soul, I can kind of relate just because growing up, I kid you not, I was like affected by things around me. For me to consistently kind of like hop around and say like, oh, I want to be this. And then like a year or two later, oh, I want to be this instead, or this and this and this and this. And it got to a point where after a while, I was like, you know what? I'm going to set my eyes on this. And that was before I had even chosen engineering. I was set on the sights of two things. Was either becoming a professional soccer player, because at that point I had already played 6 or 7 years of soccer, or becoming a police officer. Those were my two, like, that's what I'm going to do.
Sorry.
And I kid you not, I had opportunity when I was younger to go out of country and play for a professional team, paid for and everything. But one thing led to another, didn't happen. But once I reached this age where I had those two specific careers set, I kind of felt like I was putting myself out there in the sense of, okay, when it comes to soccer, I'm playing, but I'm playing with the team and, we're constantly losing, or we feel like we're working hard and it's not really taking us anywhere. So I didn't really have that sense of purpose to that sport anymore. So I literally only played it for like a year or two more and then kind of just cut it with sports, or at least with soccer. But don't get me wrong, like I still have the passion. I still want to go and kick the ball around at the field. I still want to, kick it around and all that, because I have a lot of memories of playing soccer and a lot of just enjoyment doing it. But just having that sense of it not being my purpose anymore, because I felt like it wasn't achievable. It felt as if there was nothing I could do. So after feeling like, okay, soccer wasn't it, and then I kind of slowly just started losing interest with becoming a police officer as well. I had some time and I was like, realistic, like, what's there out there for me? Like, what can I do? What intrigues me? Like, what kind of purpose do I have for the future ahead of me? So I was just stuck in a hole. I didn't really know what to do, didn't know what I wanted to do. Couldn't really talk to my parents about it because my parents would just be like, oh, just stick with school and, you'll go to college and you'll figure something out there and this and that.
That typical saying, just stick with school, just stick with school, just stick with school. $20,000 debt, go ahead. You want a car? Nah, forget a car. Go spend $500 on a book. Come on, forget a car. What's wrong with you out here wanting transportation? Come on. That was sarcasm, by the way.
But that was basically it. I just didn't know what to do, didn't know what to go for. And it wasn't until just naturally took some classes out of curiosity. And that's where I fell in love with certain things. I took a civil engineering class in high school, fell in love with everything, the works and everything. Now I know the way I was taught in a classroom isn't going to be the same as actually being on the field with that degree and everything. But that's kind of what I look forward to as a challenge down the road. Now, I would say probably the people around me in that class as well, made it twice as much better. Brian being one of those people in that class. But it was just a sense of kind of talking to people around me that had similar curiosities or, similar questions, and seeing them kind of get like a little spark to their light bulb and just being like, oh, this is sick, or I like this, or I want to continue with this, like whatever it may be. That kind of got me curious why I hadn't done that yet, or what was it that was holding me back from me having that kind of little moment of realization. So for purpose wise, it was something that I couldn't really force myself upon, just because I didn't know what to force myself upon with until it just happened naturally for me to figure it out. But even then, as time went by, as things went down the road, more of a purpose came in, or other things came into me as curiosities for me to kind of go into or research or whatever you want to call it. But kind of going back to your question, I just feel like it's kind of what you're exposed to and what you're willing to take in instead of ignoring, or like I had said earlier, going through one ear and out through the other. And instead just giving it a shot and actually trying something new, or trying to understand something that you wouldn't have wanted to or expected to kind of listen to.
Okay, and I want to touch on one last thing before we close up for this episode. And Dado, you talked about a good point. You said after you didn't get what you wanted out of one purpose, you kind of lost ambition for everything else. I feel like that's a big thing with everybody nowadays. They just put all their needs on one thing and it doesn't happen the way they want to, and now they feel like, damn, I was nothing without that. Or in this case, some people put that in relationships. Damn, I was nothing without her. Or damn, I'm nothing without him. You know, stuff like that. And I mean, at least some words I want to leave for that person who feels, in this case, you know, when you do put all your efforts into either a person, career, or a passion, because I do believe this ties with knowing yourself. Something I do want to tell them, at least if they're listening, is you're supposed to experience these. You know, I myself, I'll say right now, I am a religious person, you know, and one thing that has been done over and over a period of time throughout the Bible and all that kind of stuff, or even any religion, one thing that's found common is crisis. You know, in every religion, fact check me, in every religion, dude, it speaks on finding compassion in crisis, meaning you have to be exposed to the worst to appreciate when the best comes. That's just how it's supposed to be. So don't take it. Don't let it destroy you. Look at it as a lesson, learn, and live on so you can love. That's just what I view it as. Now, kind of like we always close with, I want to ask Dario for a thought-provoking question as well as a statement for the new age that he feels like someone should hear today.
So kind of tying in with, you know, what we kind of talked about for today was, what do you believe in? And if there is anything, what's holding you back from going full send on that belief or on that journey or belief, you know, whatever it may be? Now, as for
a statement that you believe ties in with the topic in this new age.
Okay, so, you know, as for statement, so for me, I know I've gone through a lot of crisis, a lot of pain and adventures. But I also believe that religion, believe it or not, as much as growing up I hated it and tried, you know, avoiding it as much as possible, religion kind of brought me back to my peace and brought me back to myself, to where I can understand what it is that I was going through or why I was going through that said situation or crisis, and now kind of see it as maybe it was supposed to happen. And because it happened, I am now here today with this sense of knowledge or with this sense of feeling towards that crisis. But it'll definitely be a learning experience, and, you know, something was bound to happen. It's not just going to be butterflies and sunshine 24/7 all year round, you know, throughout your whole life. Things are going to happen, and when things unexpected happen, as long as you know how to handle them or you feel like you'll be okay to handle it, you should be good. You should be smooth sailing. What about you?
For thought-provoking question, I definitely want to say, or ask in this case, is where did it all start? And I mean that to elaborate this question on, you're questioning your identity, you're questioning who you are, you're questioning who you want to be. Where did this all begin? And I'm going to follow that question, that thought-provoking question, with a statement. Because the statement I want to leave people with is, believe it or not, your first identity was given to you by your parents, your family, you know? They're your first teachers, right? And I feel like most people question who they are because where their identity started may not have really been them. So the statement I want to leave you with that ties into that question is, it's okay to not know who you are, because let's be honest, your beginning life is school. You're barely learning growing up. You know, you didn't have that those resources and that time, as well as that mature mentality to seek out that source of identity. But I want you to go back, think back, look back, and ask yourself, do I feel like I'm doing this for them? Or am I doing this for me? And if the answer is them, whoever it is that I just told you to look back for your question, I want you to just start thinking about two things. What is something you do for free because that's usually something you really want to do. And the second one, what is something you feel like you didn't ask to be good at, but you're just good at? And I always call that a calling. So that's what I want to close with. I think we at least got some good stuff out today. And I hope you guys really took in something from today. If not, I mean, there's YouTube, Google. But my name is Charles.
My name's Dario.
This is New Age Podcast. See you guys on the next one.
Peace.